Semiconductors are continuing to run like gangbusters. They are absolutely on fire today. When I was looking at the map a minute ago, I was like 19% on Micron. I must have changed that from 1 day to 1 month. Nope. That was 19% in a single day on Micron. In fact, if it's gone up 80% in the last month, totally took me by surprise. AMD up 7% today, Intel up 3%. The whole market is really concentrating on this quadrant, except for Nvidia once again. So these guys are absolutely moving. In fact, we're going to be taking a look at these stocks and more in just a couple minutes. But let's first get into our outlier outlook for the day. The S&P 500 just hit a brand new all-time high, which is awesome, right? Remember what I always say, all-time highs are bullish AF. Bullish AF. Now, we don't know if it's going to continue up higher, right? We don't have the Nancy Pelosi plan, but until we get that plan, right, all we can see is that there's no overhead resistance up here, nobody looking to sell. And same on the Nasdaq, brand new all-time highs. Now remember, stonks only go up. They only go up. Now, this is super interesting to me that we have had such a big move. How much have we gone up in the last few weeks? Hang on, I measure this. I heard a conspiracy theory today that we've gone up 20% in 57 days. I heard a conspiracy theory today that says the big banks, the market makers, are out there trying to make sure to prop up the market for the SpaceX IPO, which is supposed to be in June. Now, they want the market to be strong because then investors are going to be excited. People are going to be wanting to buy in when the market looks like this, versus if the market were going down, nobody would be interested. And the big banks, the ones that are sending the IPO to market, they stand to gain a ton of money if people are excited about that stock, are excited about that. But there's a couple examples recently of some IPOs. In fact, let's go to the weekly chart that didn't work out so great, right? Figma Inc. was one that came out, and it absolutely got monkey hammered as soon as it came out. Just down. Then there was another one. I don't think it was CEBRES, if that was correct. I don't think this is it. No, I can't remember right now. But lots of examples of stocks that hit the IPO and then come down right after that. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen to SpaceX, but what I am saying is I love a good conspiracy theory. And could that be what's driving up the market? I don't know. We're going to take a look at some of those stocks now. But we do still have a buy signal on the S&P 500. We've had it since April 9th, and it's been pushing up higher and higher and higher. Same thing on the Nasdaq. The buy signal's been in place, and it's pushing up higher and higher and higher. And let's go over to the VIX right now. The VIX is still in the base case level. It's hitting at 17 today, which is seriously what is the word I'm trying to think of? It's a level of complacency. That's the word I'm thinking of. Super complacent out in the market, right? And with Iran going on and the fact that there's this K-shaped economy going on where the rich keep getting richer and the not so rich keep getting not so rich, there's a huge discrepancy going on. Why is there absolutely no fear in the market? Well, it's because it feels like the only thing that can happen is stocks going up. Now, there is some improvement, huge improvements in breadth. In fact, if you look at RSP, and we've been following this for a while, this is the equal weighted S&P 500. It actually finally broke to new highs. So this is equal weighting. And if we compare this to the SPY itself, this is on the bottom, this is market cap weighted, and this is equal weighted. We're finally seeing more breadth under the surface. That's what this is showing you. And then one thing I found really interesting is that we had more puts being bought the other day, but we're still very solidly in the aggressive, very bullish sentiment to aggressive call buying environment. Very aggressive to bullish sentiment call buying environment. So that's the put call ratio. Next, when we look at the breadth inside of Outlier, we can see the breadth may have bottom and it's starting to turn around. Now, this is great. This is exactly what we want to see, meaning more buy signals than sell signals are coming through. And in fact, it looks very likely like this could cross over here in the next day or two. Now, if this crosses over, this could give us a green light to start going more aggressive back in our Plan M trading plan. So be sure you subscribe, because all of my trades are made live here on YouTube, and we're seeing more uptrends and less downtrends. This is exactly what we want to see. This is great news. So let's go back to MMFI. This is a percent of stocks above their own 50-day moving average. Had been trending down, but as you can see, it broke the downtrend and is now pushing back up. It's at 57%, almost to the broad participation level at 60%. And then, let me move the chat out of the way. And then, actually, let me just turn off chat for a little bit. What we can see down here is MMTH. This is the percent of stocks above their own 200-day moving average. Also broke that downtrend and is starting to push up higher. This is great news. We had a very concentrated market in a handful of stocks, and now it's starting to broaden out. This is exactly what you want to see. Exactly what you want to see. Let's go next to the new highs and new lows. Also broke out of their trends, right? So this is the new highs. It's still somewhat weak, but it's improving. And then this is the new lows, still in the bullish area for stocks. So exactly what you'd want to see. Next, let's take a look at rates. Now, the rates, this is also what you want to see when it comes to the markets, right? If the 2-year is pushing up higher, that means there's less likely to see rate cuts, more likely to see higher inflation and rate increases on the horizon. Now, it's not hitting a new high. I drew a line right up there, not hitting a new high, but still hasn't broke quite through that trend line that I drew from these lower lows right here. So keep an eye on that. If that breaks to the downside under 396 or so, that's really good. That's exactly what we want to see. And same here on the 10-year. When the 10-year goes up, that puts pressure on stocks. And we can see here it had been trending up for a while. I drew a line right at the top right there to see if we can break through it at 468. Right now, we're down under 4.5. And in fact, to give some context, that's down about 4%. Down about 4% from that high right there. Now, will this continue on? I don't know. But one thing that I don't like here is we have a new lower low in the spread between the 2 and the 10-year. Now, that isn't anything to worry about on its own, but the direction of it is not good. If this goes inverted, meaning that the 2-year is higher than the 10-year, what that would mean is a likely recession on the horizon. Not exactly what we're seeing right here, but the 2 years at 4.04, the 10 years at 4.93, and the spread between the two is starting to come back down. Let's take a look at the dollar index right here. Listen, I don't draw all those patterns, but you and I can both see the way things are going, and I'm trying to make it easier on you, my friends. Right here, the dollar pivot. This is one thing that I wanted to draw a line on. If that's okay with you, is that we haven't broke to new highs through here just yet. So keep an eye on this. If this does push up higher, that's going to put pressure on things like gold, silver, and oil. Now, oil is in its own market because of the Strait of Hormuz, but it is starting to come down. We actually see a bearish trend. Starting to develop. The 10 under the 20, price under the 50. But it does have this big area of support down here, this huge area of support down here. Then gold. This is the daily chart of gold, is now officially trending down and has been for a while, but again, more support. And then silver had that big up move, absolutely dominated by these order blocks and pushed right back down. So let's go take a look before we get to some of those stock names. Let's go look at the risk on and risk off sector. So this is the risk on sectors. Tech, of course, continues to just blow everything away. But the XLC, this is the communication sector. It's got Google, Netflix, Meta, and others. Not looking so hot. In fact, this is now trending down. It's been sideways to down for a hot minute. Then you've got the XLY, consumer discretionary, pushing back up. But again, it's got this area right on top of it. Huge resistance in this area. So I'm not sure if it's going to push higher. And then XLF, financials, found a little bottom and is starting to push up ever so slightly. Found a little bottom, starting to push up ever so slightly. What about the risk off sectors? Risk off sectors are your energy, which is risking off right now. Then you've got utilities and staples. Now, utilities and staples, they definitely found a bottom up here on utilities and pushed higher. But staples have been drifting up higher for a minute and is starting to come back down. We'll have to see if this falls through. But those are the only two sectors that we have right now, staples and utilities, that are bullish on breadth. So we have to see if they actually maintain that pretty soon, because as you can see with the market, running. So what's my final scorecard of the day before we get to those stocks? Final scorecard of the day is cautiously bullish, as we have been the last couple days, right? What's working right now? Volatility being low, the trend of the market continuing up higher, and we're seeing some improvement in the sectors. This is exactly what we want to see. What's not helpful is the fact that rates are still high. What do we need to see for an upgrade? Rates to continue to come down. Absolutely. And what do we need to see for a downgrade if the SPY breaks this trend? And I don't know if it will, but I love that conspiracy theory that they're trying to keep the market elevated, for the SpaceX IPO. let's go take a look at a handful of these names that were just absolutely on fire today, like Micron. Micron's still sitting on that buy signal from April 13th. I want to go measure this out on Micron real quick. So let me hit number 1 and let me hit Micron MU. Micron up 20% today. So April 13th was that buy signal. You can see right here to today, it's up 114%. Absolutely unbelievable move right here. Huge, huge, huge move. It had that slight pullback, found support around the 20-day, and kept pushing up higher. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that the fear and greed maxes out at 100. We're currently around 94 right now, currently around 94. Now, one that maxed out its fear and greed and starting to pull back is AMD. Now, AMD still went up today, right? That doesn't mean that they're going to crash back down, but AMD went up 7% today. So if you are in AMD, we did just get a sell signal. So take this this warning right here that you're running out of people to help push up the greed on this. Now remember, why do we care about this? Stocks only move because of not fundamentals, but an imbalance between fear and greed. And the imbalance has been imbalanced for a hot minute, but it's starting to turn the other direction on AMD. So just keep that in mind. If you're an AMD shareholder, it might be a great time to take those profits. And then Lunar stock, this is one that we traded not too long ago. In fact, I did it live here on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe so you can follow along with these trades. There's all my notes from it. Dude, this one got rocked hard today, right? In fact, all of my notes on here were talking about how if it came up to this level right here, then I would get out once it hits this order block. Now, it's been in this order block for a minute and is fighting with it hard. Has this sell signal just came through a day or two ago. So if you are a Lunar shareholder, this order block is a ton of overhead selling pressure. You don't have to hold and hope and pray that it's going to go up, because right now, everybody who's been holding, hoping, and praying that it would come back to this level is from February of 2023. And they are as excited as possible to get out of the way once they get back to break even. And that is what's holding back Lunar right here. All those buyers who got stuck for years when the stock fell. Hang on, let's measure this out. From the peak of that candle, I can even find the peak of that candle. Hold on. From the peak, oh my gosh, what happened when Lunar? From the peak of this, way up here, $136. Okay, from the peak of this candle, but we'll just go to the top of that order block right there. From the top of that order block to the bottom, went down roughly 95%. Roughly 95%. So you better believe the people who are in this area, who got stuck there holding the bag for 3 years, cannot wait that they finally got their chance to sell out at break even. And you better believe that they're going to do that. So there's going to be a ton of sell orders that it's going to have to chew through before it can go up higher. So listen, this is what we do every single day here on our channel. Be sure you subscribe. And if you're ready to save time, make money, and start winning with less risk, there's 2 videos popping up right now. One of those, I am sure, is going to help you do just that. We'll talk soon.